Good afternoon, everyone. It looks like we are online this Friday afternoon. I usually try to start right around 1 o'clock, but I am in the office today, and things happen and get phone calls and get pulled aside from what I had planned. But I'm glad to be here with you, and I hope that you're having a good week. Just wanted to spend a few moments, hopefully, to encourage us as we head into the weekend. I think we can all agree that it's been a tumultuous week or so. There are so many different things going on that can be disheartening, discouraging, frightening, divisive. There is a lot uh, to be. There's just a lot of pain right now in the world. And as I've been thinking about our current circumstances, as I've been thinking about as a church, as we've been talking about getting back together for in-person worship, um, my mind was turned to a section of the Book of Psalms, the Song of Ascents, and there's a group of 15 psalms that are basically songs that were designed to be sung by the children of Israel as they returned to Jerusalem, as they returned to Mount Zion for the annual feast, for the time of worship, for a time of gathering, for a time of remembrance. And so we're actually going to begin a series of lessons this coming Sunday. I've entitled the series "We're Marching to Zion," and we're going to be seeking to find some lessons and some insights from the songs of ascents found in the Book of Psalms. And today I'd like for us to read from the 125th Psalm. One of the great things about these Psalms is they are relatively short. They begin with the 120th Psalm, end with the 134th Psalm. And one of the things that becomes apparent is that as you read through these Psalms, these Psalms, these songs, reflect the reality of life in all of its pain. And yet they are songs directed towards God as the pilgrims are on their way to the presence of God. And so Psalm 125 reads as follows: A song of ascents. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved, but abides forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people from this time forth and forever. For the scepter of wickedness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous, lest the righteous reach out their hands to iniquity. Do good, O Lord, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts. As for such as turn aside to their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them away with the workers of iniquity. Peace be upon Israel. Now, certainly there's a lot to unpack in this short psalm, but I just want to focus our attention today for just these few minutes that we have on the message of trusting in the Lord. Like I said, these Psalms of Ascent, almost every one of them recognizes that we live in an imperfect world. It is fallen, and it is flawed, and it is filled with heartache and heartbreak. And if we're not careful, we could allow ourselves to kind of get distracted and discouraged by that, and actually to to turn aside from the direction that we're following. And so this psalm begins, this song reminds that those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved but abides forevermore. And there is a reminder of the Lord's presence and his protective and surrounding presence for those who continue to trust in him. This is ultimately a song reminding the singers, reminding the hearers, reminding the readers to not give up in your faith, to recognize that God is good, that God is powerful, that God will provide victory, and there it seems to me kind of a reminder to focus our attention on the intentions of God for the faithful. Um, it's not calling for us to bury our heads in the sand with regards to the realities of life. It is, however, asking us, challenging us to look at what is and recognize that there's something better. To recognize that God is still alive and well, and his promises have not failed. And so, as as we look at the circumstances in which we find ourselves today, a pandemic is still raging in our nation. There is a considerable amount of pain and anguish, righteous indignation at the abuses of power that have been displayed for us all too vividly. Those who were supposed to serve and protect, sometimes doing anything but, leading to the destruction of human life and creating insecurity rather than peace. And at the same time, those that reality has become an excuse for lashing out and creating havoc and chaos and fear in the lives of so many other innocent people. That's kind of the way of the world, isn't it? That sometimes even righteous indignation leads to even further sins and travesties. The book of or Paul tells disciples of Christ to be angry and sin not. And I know that can be difficult. And all of us can, if we're not careful, we can fall prey to that. We can fall prey to bitterness and cynicism. And as we look at one side or the other without seeking some balance, we can lose balance and we can lose perspective. And if we're not careful, we can become like that which we claim to despise. We can allow our hearts to be filled with bitterness and disdain. And in so doing, we've turned our attention away from God, and we've lost our way. And so the Song of Ascents reminds us to trust in God and to look to him. And as we are on this journey, it's not just about I'm going from point A to point B, but along the way, seeking to make the road a better place. And this we will do if we put our trust in the Lord. I hope that you have a great afternoon. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And for our Bostonia family, I look forward once again to for to us to be in one another's physical presence, even though if we're still having to keep a little distance. It was so good to be together last Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it again, 10 a.m. Sunday morning here at the church building. And once again, we will begin a series called Marching to Zion that focuses on the songs of ascents. So let's keep praying. Let's keep serving. Let's keep setting an example of godliness. Let's be compassionate and empathetic. Let's let our righteous indignation at all of the things that we see in this world lead us to help others find Jesus, because ultimately He is our hope. Until then, until we see each other again, either in person or virtually, I hope you have